Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The Italian national carrier ITA A320, carrying the Vicar of Christ, touched down at Larnaca International Airport in Cyprus at 3 p.m. on December the 2nd, kickstarting Pope Francis's 35th apostolic journey to the Mediterranean island and Greece from December the 2nd to the 6th. His Holiness arrived with the motto, "Comforting each other in the faith," taken from the first letter of St. Paul to Timothy. On the tarmac, the pontiff was greeted by Apostolic Nuncio to Cyprus Archbishop Tito Yllana. He was welcomed by Annita Demetriou, President of the House of Representatives in Cyprus. 3 young girls, clad in traditional attire, welcomed the Pope with bouquets of yellow blossoms. Waiting for him at the venue were also children chanting, "We love you, Pope Francis," waving the papal flag and the flag of Cyprus. The Supreme Pontiff had a private meeting with delegates, with His Holiness later being taken to the Presidential Palace for a meeting with President Nikos Anastasiadis. Following his official welcome after arriving at the Larnaca International Airport, Pope Francis headed to the Maronite Cathedral of Our Lady of Grace to address priests, consecrated persons, deacons, catechists and members of the church associations in Cyprus. Stressing the need of a patient church in the region, Pope Francis called for, quote, "a church that does not allow itself to be upset and troubled by change, but calmly welcomes newness and discerns situations in the light of the gospel." Speaking to representatives of the Catholic rites in Cyprus, those being Latin, Maronite and Armenian, the pontiff praised the richness of their diversity and encouraged them to persist without becoming weary or discouraged. The Pope urged bishops and priests to foster a culture of forgiveness and mercy, and the ability to listen with open ears and hearts to varied spiritual sensibilities, faith expressions, and cultures. President Nikos Anastasiadis gave Pope Francis a red carpet welcome at the Presidential Palace in Nicosia on Thursday, December the 2nd. In the garden on the premises of the presidential abode, His Holiness paused for a moment before the statue of the island's first president, Archbishop Makarios III, and a wreath was placed on his behalf. He then greeted members of the cabinet and prelates, including the Apostolic Nuncio Archbishop Tito Yllana and the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Archbishop Pier Battista Pizzaballa, as well as the top prelate of the Maronite Church. The Pope thanked the President for the warm welcome he received, stating that his heart was touched. He also said that he had received the welcome of a brother. Pope Francis is likely to reiterate that the problems of Cyprus can be solved through sincere and fair dialogue during his discussions with the President. The Holy Father later met the entourage of the President and members of the diplomatic corps. During his address to members of civil society and the diplomatic corps on December the 2nd, the Holy Father touched upon the division of Cyprus, a wound that the land has suffered for decades. He also spared a thought about those who cannot return to their ancestral homes and places of worship, as the island is divided into the Republic of Cyprus, recognised by the UN and the EU, and the unrecognised Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. This came to be following the 1974 Turkish invasion, hot on the heels of a military coup on the island. Following the invasion, Greek Cypriot Christians in the north were forced to relocate to the south. The opposite occurred in the south, where Turkish Cypriots were forced to move to the north. This led to the destruction of thousands of churches and monasteries in the north, many of which were turned into mosques. The pontiff prayed for peace on the whole island to heal past wounds of conflicts. He said there is only one panacea to peace, that being dialogue. He said, quote, "We must help ourselves to believe in the strength of patience." On December the 3rd, the second day of the apostolic journey, Pope Francis will travel to Nicosia to meet His Beatitude Chrysostomus II, Orthodox Archbishop of Cyprus. The Holy Father will meet the head of the Cypriot Church at the Orthodox Archbishopric in the city. After the courtesy visit, the Supreme Pontiff will address the Holy Synod at the Orthodox Cathedral in Nicosia. Then, later in the morning, the Pope will preside over an open-air Eucharistic celebration at the GSP Stadium, the largest arena in the country. Finally, His Holiness will hold an ecumenical prayer service with migrants at the Holy Cross Catholic Church in the capital in the afternoon. Following stiff opposition from right-leaning politicians, the European Commission was forced to withdraw an internal document that advises officials to avoid saying Merry Christmas and instead opt for holiday season and stop using terms such as man-made. The EU Parliament was forced to withdraw the guidelines issued by Commissioner for Equality Helena Dalli at the end of October, following an article that appeared in the Italian tabloid Il Giornale that said it amounted to a bid to cancel Christmas. After the article appeared, leaders led by the former president of the European Parliament, Antonio Tajani, who belongs to Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia party, strongly voiced their opposition to the guidelines. Tajani took to Twitter to say that inclusion does not mean negating the Christian roots of the European Union. Following the furore, Dalli had to issue an apology, saying that the document was not a mature one and that she withdrew it to work on a better one. US bishops have urged the faithful to pray as the Supreme Court is hearing the Dobbs versus Jackson case that might have ramifications on the 1973 ruling that legalized abortion in the country. Various bishops and clergy have appealed for prayers for the case that examines the constitutionality of Mississippi's Gestational Age Act that restricts abortions after the 15th week of pregnancy unless the health of the mother is in jeopardy or the fetus is malformed. The Supreme Court began hearing oral arguments on the case on December the 1st. Baltimore Archbishop William Lowry, who also chairs the Catholic Bishops' Committee on Pro-Life Activities, implored the faithful to continue praying and fasting so that the court will do the right thing by allowing states to limit or prohibit abortion, protecting millions of unborn lives. Other bishops have also urged similar endeavours in their dioceses, including recital of the Rosary and the Chaplet of Divine Mercy. The fire department in Knoxville, East Tennessee in the United States has ruled that an act of arson was the cause of a fire at a Catholic Charities building on Sunday night. The fire department dispatched personnel to the building on 119 Dameron Avenue to douse the flames. They struggled for 2 hours to bring the flames under control. However, no one was hurt in the fire. On Monday morning, the officials determined that the building was deliberately torched by a person who broke inside. Officials have also sought the help of the public to solve the crime. Catholic Charities of East Tennessee provides assistance to those in need through a community food pantry, children's emergency shelter, pregnancy help, and immigration services. Of late, specific targeting of Catholic churches and institutions is on the rise in the United States. The Cathedral of St. Nicholas, the second oldest Roman Catholic church in Ukraine's capital Kiev, has been returned to the community by the authorities. The Ministry of Culture approved the return of the cathedral to the Roman Catholic Diocese of Kiev after the structure suffered significant damage in a fire on September the 3rd. During the time of the Soviet Union, the church, built in a neo-Gothic style, was closed, and the authorities removed the altar and replaced it with a large organ, converting the building into a concert hall. Even after Ukraine's independence in 1991, the Catholic community's demands to have the church returned were ignored. Since 1992, the Catholic faithful have had to rent the building in order to celebrate Holy Mass, as it was retained as a concert hall overseen by the local municipality's culture department. The building has to undergo extensive renovation, and it will be rededicated next year. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.